Your heart is racing right now, and you don't even know it. Not from danger, not from a threat, just from sitting still, scrolling, thinking. Your breathing is shallow, your shoulders are tight, your nervous system is stuck in a low, constant hum of stress that never fully turns off. Ancient warriors didn't have this problem. They walked into actual battle, facing actual blades, and somehow stayed calm enough to fight for hours. How does a human being do that? How do you stop your body from panicking when your life is genuinely on the line? The answer isn't courage. It isn't adrenaline. It's something far stranger and far more controllable than you think. It's breath. Long before modern science understood the nervous system, ancient warrior cultures had already discovered that breathing wasn't just something the body did automatically. It was a lever. Pull it the right way, and you could shut down fear itself. Start in ancient Sparta. Spartan boys entered military training around age 7 inside a brutal state education system called the Agog. Discipline came before comfort. Endurance came before ease. And buried inside that training was something rarely talked about outside of academic circles. Controlled, rhythmic breathing used to prepare the body for combat stress. Ancient Greek writers described hoplite soldiers steadying themselves before the clash of shields, slowing their breath deliberately in the final seconds before contact. Why would you slow your breathing right before the most dangerous moment of your life? Shouldn't your body want to speed up, to prepare, to fight or flee? Here's the strange part. Speeding up is exactly what gets you killed. A racing breath means a racing heart. A racing heart means shaking hands, tunnel vision, poor decision-making. In hand-to-hand combat, panic doesn't protect you. Panic gets you cut down in the first 10 seconds. So ancient soldiers trained themselves to do the opposite of what fear demanded. Now travel east, centuries later, to feudal Japan. Samurai warriors practiced a breathing method tied to something called the tanden, a point in the lower abdomen believed to be the body center of physical and mental power. Before combat, before archery, even before calligraphy, samurai were taught to breathe downward into this point. Long inhale, controlled exhale, weight sinking low into the body. This wasn't mysticism for its own sake. It had a function. By breathing low and slow, a warrior's center of gravity dropped. His stance became harder to break. His mind, instead of spiraling into fear, became sharp, still, almost eerily calm. Zen Buddhist monks, who deeply influenced samurai training, taught a similar principle for meditation. Slow the breath, and you slow the mind. Slow the mind, and fear loses its grip. Doesn't that sound almost too simple to be true? But keep going because the pattern shows up again and again across completely unconnected ancient cultures. In Tibet, Buddhist monks practiced an extreme breathing and meditation technique now studied by modern researchers, involving controlled breathwork that could raise the body's core temperature enough to dry wet, freezing cloths draped over their skin in sub-zero mountain air. Harvard researcher Herbert Benson traveled to the Himalayas in the 1980s to document this. What he found stunned him. Monks using specific breathing patterns could consciously raise their skin temperature by several degrees, something considered biologically impossible under normal understanding of the nervous system at the time. If breath could do that to body temperature, what else could it override? Fear, it turns out, responds to the exact same lever. Your nervous system runs on two competing systems. One prepares you for danger, tightening muscles, speeding the heart, flooding you with stress hormones. The other calms you, slows the heart, and returns the body to a stable, controlled state. Ancient warriors, without any modern vocabulary for nervous systems or hormones, had discovered through pure trial and survival that breath was the switch between these two states. Slow the exhale, and you manually pull your body out of panic. This is why Spartan phalanxes could hold a line under a wall of enemy spears without breaking formation and terror. This is why samurai swordsmen could stand motionless, waiting in the seconds before a duel that could end their life in a single strike. It wasn't fearlessness. It was a trained physical override of fear. Norse warriors offer a darker twist on this same idea. Berserkers, the legendary Viking fighters described in Old Norse sagas, were said to enter a trance-like combat rage before battle. becoming seemingly immune to pain and fear. Historians still debate exactly how this state was induced, but many point to ritual breathing, chanting, and controlled hyperventilation followed by breath holding, a pattern that floods the body with a very specific, it's called the Wim Hof method, developed by a Dutch endurance athlete who studied Tibetan breathing traditions and old exposure techniques, then combined them into a structured system of rapid breathing followed by breath retention. Practitioners using this method have been documented influencing their own immune response and enduring extreme cold, effects that were once assumed to be entirely involuntary. Ancient warriors didn't have laboratories. They didn't have heart rate monitors or blood oxygen sensors, but they had something arguably more valuable. They had generations of life or death trial and error, refining exactly which breathing rhythms kept a human calm enough to survive combat, and which ones got you killed. Roman military writer Vegetius, in his manual on Roman army training, emphasized discipline and control above raw aggression, noting that panicked, disorganized soldiers were far more likely to die than calm, controlled ones. Control started with the breath, because everything else, the sword, the stance, the strategy, fell apart the moment a soldier's nervous system spiraled. Think about that for a second.